Welcome, everyone. I wanted to thank you all for coming out today to Health First for our farmers market to talk about the importance of food access and access to local fresh grown food for the community of Fall River. We're very grateful today to have some dignitaries here who are going to talk with us and with you about those issues, and we will be able to talk more later about the importance of the HIP enabling legislation and some of the benefits to this community of the Healthy Incentives Program, SNAP access to farmers markets, and the Farmers Market Nutrition Program coupons. And I would like to first introduce Mayor Paul Coogan, who is ready to talk to you today. Thank you.
Okay, since I'm the first one up, I have to do a couple of introductions. First of all, we have a couple of representatives here. Sophia Mayetta from Carol Fiola's office, Caitlin Rowley from Senator Roderick's office, and two of my good friends, colleagues in government, Representative Paul Schmidt and Representative Alan Sylvia, and I think they're going to say a few words after. This is truly a great program. It's going to be able to keep our farmers employed and give people access at 3 different locations in Fall River to farm fresh food. This is what we need. As you can see from the line behind me, the residents want it also, and we have a bunch of people out here today on this beautiful day. I saw tomatoes, I saw squash. They're all picking it up, and they're going to be taking it home, and there's also tables to help people with all kinds of different programs to make their lives better here in the city of Fall River. And that is what we're always about, how to make Fall River a better place to live for everybody. I'm going to turn it back over to those guys. All right. I'll introduce them. We'll go down the line. The first one up to speak is a great friend of mine, Representative Schmidt.
Oh. Thank you very much, Mayor Coogan, and you're absolutely right. If you look, if the camera can look behind me at the length of the line here, this is local residents, folks who live in this neighborhood or maybe another neighborhood in Fall River, because we're right here on a bus stop. And they're all here because the word of mouth is getting around that buying farm fresh, healthy food is important for their families. And I just want to express the thanks from myself and my colleagues, Representative Sylvia, Representative Fiola, and Senator Roderick's, for their support here. You know, we have many partners, and I see in the audience, I see Winton Pitkoff, who is from the Food System Collaborative, which sponsored the background to this legislation that you're going to hear about in just a minute. I see Liz Wiley from the Marion Institute, who's been such an important sponsor of this. I see my neighbor, Fred Dabney, who has been a ceaseless advocate for farmers. And I see behind me Laura Smith. Laura, will you wave? Yeah. Thank you very much, Laura, who's one of the many farmers who support this program. And she is so happy to hear that we are working to make this program a 12-month-a-year program, because she is ready to be here 12 months a year and continue to bring farm fresh, nutritious food to local people. So I'll just end, unless I see somebody else who should be recognized. Well, our partners, our partners, Mass in Motion, and Citizens for Citizens. And I'll just end and turn it over to my colleague, Rep. Sylvia, in saying that he and I are going to be up at the State House fighting to keep this program 12 months a year with your support. Thank you. You're batting clean.
I am going to keep my remarks to about 25 or 30 minutes. I'm just kidding. I always say that. Look, you know, if you arrived here earlier, I mean, there's about 35 people in line now. But there was a line of about 70 people. And I say that because this is the greatest place you can come in Fall River to get the best quality of produce at the best price. What's better than that? And, you know, I've had the opportunity to visit a couple of sites in the city, and I just want to say how important it is that we do this year round, because the local farmers have the ability to grow produce year-round here, and we want to be able to get it to the people who are watching this right now and who will be watching this later on this week. We thank you for delivering this message to people, because it's just so important. There are about 25% of my district is at poverty level or even below. So that's a huge number when you see all of Massachusetts is just 10%. Well, 10% is high, but when we look at Fall River, there are so many people who are in need. And there's no better place they can come to ensure that they get the nutrition and quality produce that they can find right here. So I thank all the partners, the farmers, and everyone that makes this possible. And I want to thank, of course, Mayor Coogan, who is always supportive, always eager. Fall River Housing Authority plays a very important role in this, and letting their tenants, making them aware that the food that you're here, you're available. The farmers market is where it is and when it is. So communications is a very important aspect. We thank you.
Hello, I'm Sarah Labossiere. I'm the coordinator for Mass in Motion in Fall River. And I just wanted to take a minute to talk about the farmers markets and the way we've structured them and why we've done things the way we have done them and how they have helped the residents in Fall River. So you might notice this is a wonderful farmers market with a great amount of produce, but it's a smaller market. It doesn't have a lot of entertainment. It doesn't have a lot of extra vendors. We are focusing on the nutritious, healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables, because that is the essential for families in Fall River. And we also have chosen Lane Gardens and Oakdale Farms because they are authorized HIP vendors. And that is something that we wanted to focus on for Fall River. So we brought the farms smaller into partner agencies such as Health First. We're very grateful for Health First for allowing us to be here on Wednesdays, and on Tuesdays we're thankful to St. Anne's Hospital, and they are wonderful partners, and the Fall River Housing Authority, who allows us to be at Cardinal Madeira. So we wanted them to be smaller markets that were more accessible, as close to residences as possible, so that the most people could access them as possible. Just want to call attention that September is Hunger Awareness Month, and the HIP program is something wonderful that is run by DTA and MDAR, and it allows for extra money through the SNAP program for buying fruits and vegetables at the farmers markets, and that is the whole reason we're here today. So I hope that you enjoy the market and come out and visit us another time. Thank you.
The Healthy Incentives Program doesn't just benefit our local communities, it also benefits our local farmers. The HIP program is a part of the SNAP program, the food stamp program, for those of you who've been around as long as I have. And it is an additional incentive that anyone in the SNAP program can use at an authorized farmers market, farm stand. There are 240 different farmers accessing using the program across the state. The state budget provides $13 million in incentives, and for the first time in July, we had $1 million month. And that means $1 million of fresh local food went into our communities, and $1 million also went to our local farms. And the support that we have had from the state legislature in this process has been incredible. There's no way this would have happened without it. And those farmers are across the state. They're large and small. They are diverse. And for many of them, this is a huge benefit. It makes or breaks their business. It allows them to be sure of a certain amount of income, to be able to go into communities where it might not have been affordable to go before. And the program itself has stabilized in the budget. We've had great support over the past 4 years. And we have some next steps, and part of that is some new HIP enabling legislation. And to talk a little bit more about that part of the program and what the next steps mean for the Healthy Incentives Program is Winton Pitkoff, who is the director of the Mass Food System Collaborative.
Thanks, Karen. So I wouldn't have been able to imagine this 4 years ago when the program started. And we had an expectation that over the first few years of the program, we thought maybe $400,000 or so was going to be enough. And it wasn't. It wasn't enough for the first 4 months of the program. And as a result, the program had to be suspended. And the legislature stepped up and put more money into it, and the program had to be suspended again. We're at a point now where, thanks to the ongoing support of the legislature, led in large part by Representative Schmidt, we ran the program for 12 months without it being suspended for the first time last year. And the legislature really stepped up during the COVID crisis and recognized that this was something that can't stop and start. The consistency is what matters. It matters to the farmers. It matters to the eaters. People eat 12 months out of the year. And so, as Karen mentioned, July was the first time the program had over $1 million worth of incentives earned. It was also the first month that more than 30,000 households benefited from the program. And we continue to see this sort of growth, and it's great for farmers because we talk about programs being successful when they have two bottom lines, when it's helping both sides. This program is not only helping farmers, it's helping the local economy, it's helping the environment. And it's not only helping consumers, it's helping our public health system because it's making sure that people who are traditionally much more vulnerable to chronic dietary-related diseases, making sure that they are less susceptible because they have better access to healthy food. We want to make sure the program exists well beyond this particular legislature. We're not always going to have Rep. Schmidt to back us up, although he promises he'll be here forever. And so that's why we've filed some enabling legislation, and it's called an Act Relative to a Healthy Incentives Program, Senate Bill 108 and House Bill 250. This bill would encode the program into statute. It would say that this program exists in law. It's not something that's at the whim of future administrations to take away if they want to take it away. And it would also make sure that the best parts of the program, the one-to-one, the dollar-for-dollar match, would sustain over the long term. So the Massachusetts Food System Collaborative has made this bill a priority. The Massachusetts Food System, the legislature's Food System Caucus, which Representative Schmidt is co-chair of. I haven't had a sentence yet without saying Representative Schmidt's name, I recognize, but he's just that good. It has made it a priority for them as well. And there's going to be a hearing on that coming up, and I hope that folks step up and talk to their legislators about what an important program this is so we can make sure that it has real long-term sustainability. Thanks.
So SNAP is a safety net for a lot of our population in times of transition. It is a program that many people come in to and come out of. Some people end up staying in longer than others. But I wanted you to hear from somebody actually who's very close to SEMAP, who has had experience within the program itself when she was an AmeriCorps volunteer last year. And this is Shannon Hickey, who is SEMAP's program coordinator.
Hi there. So as Karen said, I'm a program coordinator for SEMAP, the Southeastern Massachusetts Agricultural Partnership. But prior to joining SEMAP, I was on SNAP for about 18 months. So I spent 12 months as an AmeriCorps member at a food access nonprofit based in Boston. And then I spent 6 months after that unemployed, unable to get unemployment benefits, and unable to find work in the middle of a pandemic. And SNAP was really life-changing for me. I'm really grateful that I have had farming experience at a HIP-eligible farm prior to being on SNAP because I wouldn't have heard about it otherwise. It's a little hidden gem of a program that really we should be screaming from the rooftops. Truly it was life-changing, and I'm very grateful that I knew about it going in. I really appreciated the HIP program for 3 major reasons. So it allowed me to purchase from local farms and support local farmers in a way that I wouldn't have been able to do as a low-income person, and contribute to a local economy in a really real way. Second, it allowed me to support farmers who are growing with climate-friendly practices, which is something that's equally as important to me, especially when we have frontline communities like Fall River who are bearing the brunt of the effects of climate change. It's really important to support our smaller farmers who are our best stewards of the land and waterways. And then in the third way that I really appreciated HIP, and perhaps the most impactful way, is that it allowed me to participate in community spaces and feel welcomed into community environments like farmers markets, where I otherwise perhaps wouldn't have been able to get to and afford to participate in. And particularly in an isolating time like a pandemic, that was really important to me. And I want to emphasize that for me, being on SNAP, the Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program, I was lucky enough that it really was supplementary, but most folks are not that lucky. SNAP is people's food budgets. And so for me, HIP was a nice little added bonus that I could, buy from the farmers that I wanted to buy from. But for lots of folks, HIP is the difference between eating and not eating. We could talk all day long about how it's important for increasing people's access to healthy foods, which is true, but it's also increasing people's access to food in general, and that $40 to $80 a month really can be the difference between eating a meal and skipping a meal. I also, outside of SEMAP, I work part-time for a farm at a market in Boston, and I can't describe to you the relief on people's faces when they learn about the HIP program. And I am lucky enough that I get to share with about half a dozen people every Saturday at least about how wonderful this program is. The relief and excitement and disbelief on their faces is just, it's so heartwarming, and I wish that everyone on SNAP knew about this program and utilized this program and utilized it year-round, because that is really when farmers themselves can slip into food insecurity as well. So really important to have this year-round. And I'll wrap up because I could talk about this forever. I would definitely say that it's an imperfect program and there are challenges with it, but the only way to address that is to get it funding year-round and get it consistent funding. I love it as a HIP user, I loved it as a farmer, and I hope that those both farmers and users are able to access it, and we expand the routes to access this program. And I think that it's crucial that we're able to preserve and strengthen this program so Massachusetts can continue to be a real leader nationwide for local food access. Thanks.
This could be no better testimony to the strength of the program than what we just heard. So thank you all for coming out today. I am going to put a plug in with bill numbers. It's House 250 and Senate Bill 108. Talk to your legislators about HIP enabling legislation. We hope to have this program encoded into the Commonwealth in perpetuity and funded, and so that people will have long-term access to healthy food. Thank you all for your time today.